We were speaking earlier about the business environment or the environment in the country for small businesses. How have you found your journey to have been?
Thank you very much. Look, it's been a very tough journey, I must say, because if you look at a lot of businesses or rather startups that start in South Africa, they don't actually make it, based on a lot of factors. And one of those factors is, of course, being able to have securities if you needed capital, and also ensuring that you are compliant. Now, the business that I'm in, which is the tourism sector, you would appreciate the fact that it's not a lot of black people who are in this kind of business. It's also capital intensive, but it requires a lot of hard work, in building your own clientele that would eventually allow you the space to actually get to the level where you want to be, which is the path that I'm on at this stage.
One of the challenges faced by small businesses in South Africa is the regulatory framework and that capital that they always talk about. We've heard from the IDC, from various departments within the country, saying that they're opening themselves up to provide things like capital. In fact, the Minister of Small Business and Development has said that next year 2 billion rand will be pledged to small businesses in South Africa. But really your journey in this space is someone who is grinding on the ground on a daily, opening those doors. How has that been?
Well, it's been a challenge. I mean, of course, we appreciate the fact that the government has taken a couple of initiatives in trying to support that. However, what a lot of government leaders, particularly the ministry, would actually assist by ensuring that they have the kind of teams that are dedicated to ensuring the implementation part of those funds, and just to make sure that a small business in a rural village, like a small town that is not well known, but a brilliant idea, can be supported thoroughly. I think it's been a tough one because, first of all, I needed to have a couple of at least. I needed to belong to an association, which is the ASATA, the Association of South African Travel Agencies. I needed to have a license for IATA, which is the International Air Transport Association. Now, with that, you need at least a minimum of 1.5 million rand cash in your bank account. So how I did it, only God knows. And I think it's been through a lot of hard work and partnership with other smaller companies in making sure that at least I can get what I want. So it's a work in progress. You never get to a point where you feel like you've done enough. Of course, I do want the company to grow, but we can't be entrepreneurs and also only depend on government to give us funds. So we need to really go beyond getting the funds, instill our passion in what we're doing. So as they say, where there's a will, there's a way. So there's always an opportunity to make sure that you get what you want if you're willing to work for it.
And moving away from government, that's an important element that you mentioned, and I assume that's one of the reasons you've attended this particular event, is to engage with various stakeholders from various parts of industry, not just in government. What have those engagements been like, particularly when it comes to what South Africa can learn from India, or vice versa when it comes to the development of SMEs?
I think I was very fortunate in 2017, last year in June. I was the only South African who was appointed by Incredible India, which is the tourism agency of the government of India, to go and represent South Africa on the SMEs. In fact, we were attending a Yoga International Day with the Prime Minister. So what I've learned, rather, in that was that through collaboration and through partnership, anything is possible. I think one of the biggest challenges that we have in South Africa is that a lot of entrepreneurs don't want to work together. We don't want to collaborate because everybody wants to have their own, sort of initiative and drive it through. Whereas in India, a lot of people are partnering. I mean, if I have to make an example in Fortsburg, if you walk into one cell phone store that doesn't have the battery that can fit in your phone, they'll probably refer you to the next door. But here, you're not going to get a company that will sort of refer you to another purely because we don't want to support each other. We tend to focus on what we we shouldn't be doing, rather, you know. But I think on a positive note, India has a bigger role to play. And they've shown that. I mean, they have the biggest population compared to South Africa. The people are actually quite hardworking. There's certain parts of India where people are really poor, and they don't steal, you know. When I came back home, I thought to myself, so every time people called radio stations, televisions, their excuse was, well, I'm stealing because I don't have a job, which I think it's a bit of an unfortunate situation. I mean, I grew up in the village in Taung in Northwest. I grew up very poor, and I grew up at the time when Mangope was our president, and we had no service delivery, nothing. And we had no access to better education whatsoever. But I'm here today. I'm not saying everybody went through the same circumstances, but I think if you really put your head to it, you can come around it.